Hey guys, it's Navinad. It's been a while since I've done just a normal kind of self-sweat session, so I recorded myself playing a couple small stakes games, turbo heads-up sit and goes. Been running pretty bad, and I think actually kind of playing bad at the 6 max NL50 games, and so I'm dropping down to some smaller stakes and kind of more what I'm used to. Okay, so on the left hand, I check. Obviously, I had a standard call pre-flop, and I check the flop, and I think villain checks back here. Okay, so when he checks back, he's got a ton of ace high and small pairs, in my opinion, and I think not only I just picked up a gut shot with potentially 2 overcards to whatever pocket pair he might have, and 2 live cards to his ace. But I think I'm going to barrel him off the river a ton. But when I actually bink the 7, I feel like I should check and call, allow him to bluff, or maybe value own himself with like a pair of 5s or something like that. And pretty oddly, it turns out that he checked back top pair on the flop. So we want to make a note of that. On the right hand table, I picked up a couple of big hands and just decided to start going 3 times the big blind in the first blind level. I think it's fine to do that. To either go 3 times the big blind or min raise the button in the first blind round. And when I just pick up pocket queens in the very first hand, I'll tend to go that way. I mean, I think it's kind of either or to begin with. And then when the blinds change again, I can always just go back to min raising. So I was playing these games at the same time, and I usually don't play more than two tables of heads up, and actually with all the videos I've been making, I've been playing a lot of just single tables, but I'll try to follow the action as we go. This is going to make it a lot easier with this view. Okay, so yeah, on the table on the left, I think we could check call. We're out of position, so I think I just want to check raise. Hope he has something that can call me, and that way I don't have to check to him and let him check back all of his showdown value stuff on the river. We could check call and then just donk the river. That's also an option. But if we're going to donk the river, we may as well put that bet in here because it inflates the size of the pot and gets us an extra street where we can get more value from second best hands. Over on the right, I think we have a pretty good spot to check raise here. We've got the 2, 3, 4, 5 on a very discombobulated board. I'd expect him to c-bet all of his air on, and he's not going to be able to call all the time. Plus, I think if he does have some kind of like ace high that he decides to call me with, that could get bad for him, because if we bink the ace, of course, we're going to have a straight. And also, I'm going to have some cards like this, like any, I think my plan in game was to also turn hearts that were bigger than a 10 into barrels as well. So it's going to be barreling heart over cards, and of course I have the fold equity on the flop, and you know, I can always just hit my straight on the turn or river. So I figured one of those things would work out a good chunk of the time. And here I think we've got it on the left-hand side. We've got a close decision between a check back and a bet, but I choose to bet because we have 3 to the straight and 3 to a good flush, which is going to mean that I can barrel a lot of turn cards and get him to fold a hand like if he peels an ace high, or like 5x, 7x, a pretty good percent of the time, because a lot of our improvement cards are going to be overcards to like 7s and 5s. So like if we hit a 10 here, or an ace especially, and we bomb it, then it's going to be pretty hard for him to call with a lot of, well, he's going to fold a lot of the range of hands that I would expect him to have called with on the flop. He's using kind of a weird bet size, and it does kind of screw me up a little bit. I kind of have to think about what that could mean if he's changing his bet size and varying his bet size or not. And here I think we can check and call and do like an out of position float. We can check fold, it wouldn't be too awful nitty. Or we can check and raise, and all of these things are going to depend on our read of our opponent. Our check raise, of course, we're expecting to get the job done right here, right now, an awful lot, because it is discombobulated unless he has exactly a heart draw. If he has exactly a heart draw, we could actually be bluffing with the best hand. And we're going to have like a pretty good chunk of cards that we can barrel on the turn. Big clubs, hearts, big clubs. And I think we can barrel the deuce also, just turning bottom pair into a bluff, knowing that he does have draws in his range, and that we can now improve with any king or any two. So I will bomb a king, a 2, or probably any overcard to a 10, and it does look like I set it up to get stacks in, so once I bet the turn, I've pretty much decided that I'm going to bomb any scare card all in on the river. So check raising flop, betting turn, and jamming river, although it's a pretty polarizing line, it's also a pretty strong line, and it puts a ton of pressure on an opponent who, I mean, he could even have draws that were just busted and he just can't call, and it's going to be really hard for him to call with like top pair on the flop. So I don't recommend using that all the time, but when you're in that spot and you decide you've got a good check raise on the flop, a good turn to barrel, and you get to the river at the very bottom of your range and pick up a scare card, it's a pretty good time to just go ahead and follow through with a big bluff. Action on the right, I think we've got a real easy call against the min raise here at 10-6, and a pretty easy check fold on Jack 3-3. 6-5 offsuit I think is real close. I could really see it's kind of towards the bottom of my range, so I actually know I consider turning it into a bluff. On the right, we're just going to bomb here, expecting that he's going to be checking back hands that are just total air that he's going to be giving up with, and if not, we will pick up some river cards that we can blast away at. On the left, with just the backdoor flush draw and the kind of weak pair, we just want to try to get this to showdown, and if he bets the turn, we're going to have to pick it off, but if he follows through with another bet on the river, we're probably going to have to fold, unless we improve, of course. So yeah, I think we call it here, planning to check fold the river, especially that river, and he checks back, and we win. Okay, over here we check, planning to check call, although I don't think a check raise would be terrible. Checking to see what he did that with. Check, check, check. A lot of checks in this conversation. So yeah, check call. Then I think just another check call is in order. Yeah, and no, I don't like check raising the river on the flop on the right. I think check call, and check raise all seem pretty good. Or check call, probably. I don't know if I check raise the river, what he's going to pay me off with. Maybe over pairs, but maybe not. So I don't think he would have called the check raise with that pair of eights. So I don't feel like we left much on the table there. Plus, every once in a while, we're just going to run into it. So perfectly happy to get 3 streets of value there, out of position with the jack and the 10. Okay, I'm kind of lost in hand on the left, so I'm going to focus my attention back to the right, which is just to open raise with 10-7. Pretty standard. I guess I was not believing this lead on the river for whatever reason, and I do have the nut flush blocker. I must have checked back and thought I could bet before. You may have seen the hand. I didn't. But yeah, guessing on the left there, I decided to turn my ace high into a bluff on the river because I checked it back on the flop, and the bottom pair on the flop paired on the river, so I can rep bottom pair that I checked back pretty easily. Oh, left. I remember this hand being very very odd. So we check, planning to call, of course, on the left. And he checks back. So we're going to bet this turn card for value, of course. And he rips it in. We get 2 all-ins at the same time. So we got a pretty easy call over there on the right. We bust him. And we have a not as easy decision here on the left, where our opponent does this crazy nonsensical thing and just rips it in after checking back here. So what's he have, like exactly a pair of 2s? I think his value range ought to be like pocket 2s, and that's it. But he overplayed a hand and got punished for it. So that's that. So until next time, kids, the end. Over and out. Good luck.